Hello, I'm Mark Tunley and welcome to In the Workshop with Mark Tunley. It's just a quick intro video just to introduce myself, and Martin is behind camera and he will be asking me a question or two.
I do have questions for you, Mark.
He has questions for me.
Yeah. Talk to us about, how did you get into this business? Talk to us about your early years and how you sort of developed into a rod builder of some repute.
Right, okay. I don't want to bore people to death. Early part of my life was retail, office work, that kind of stuff. My first experience of rod building was my father building a rod from a kit. Do you remember the kits years ago?
Oh, yes.
Yep, and he was building it in the back garden in the summertime, sanding, cork, etc. And I sort of, that's interesting. Being a kiddie and loving fishing and everything like that, the tackle side of it was just as important. So that was my very first experience of rod building. And then through my early years, just went fishing as much as we can. And then I really wanted to, in my early 30s, I really wanted to get into the tackle trade. I really wanted to, get into rod building. So I went about that, and I managed to land myself a job with a guy who had a retail shop, a guiding service, a rod building department, etc., etc. And I gravitated towards the rod building. So did that. It was all high-end fly rods, so I had to be up to speed really quickly on high-level stuff. And then I was approached by a bamboo fly rod maker.
I think that this is an important part of the story, really.
Yeah, it's because right from the very beginning I had to go from zero to hero, if you see what I mean. I had people over my shoulder making sure that my work was absolutely spot on. And in the fly rod world, especially the bamboo fly rod world, these rods were going out to collectors in Japan and America. I mean, and we're talking 23 plus years ago, and they were just shy of $2,000 then. And he's unfortunately, Tom's no longer with us. He died a few years ago, unfortunately, but I worked with him for just about a year. I didn't enjoy bamboo fly rod making because I don't use bamboo fly rods. So I enjoy coarse rod making because I use coarse rods. It's sort of simple as that. So I just, as quickly as I could, went about starting my own rod building business, and
probably use some of those perfection principles.
Yeah. It's a difficult one. Yeah, it's a difficult one to not do. I try to build them as nice as I can all the time, and so I started my own custom building. And I opened the doors, and the business came in, and the carp rods and the barbel rods and the float rods, and everybody and I've been very, very lucky. I am 56 now. This is February 22, and I've been full-time a professional rod maker on my own for 23 years, which is lovely. I get to do almost a hobby, what I like doing, and get paid for it.
Yeah, and it's still the very generalist kind of fishing that you do. I know you're a carper as well.
Yeah.
But you can pick up a rod and almost do anything.
Really. Yeah. It's because I'm an all-rounder. It's allowed me to be able to design rods, if you know what I mean. Design how they're put together, where to place rings, handle length, etc., across all the disciplines. So
and some of those disciplines flow into each other. You found that, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there's especially in fishing. I mean, if I'm not working, I'm fishing as much as I can, as long as it's not raining. And being an all-rounder, I just like to, fish for whatever I fish for, whenever I fish for it.
So 56, very content, good little business going on. Fishing's great at the moment, if not a little bit cold for Mark Tunley's taste.
Yeah, it's a bit cold for me, but yeah.
So what can we expect from you in terms of this series of videos? I know you're going to start uncovering a few different areas.
Yeah, I've got a list on my phone.
Kind of content coming up.
We've got a lot of questions. I'm just going to count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, God, I'm going to guesstimate about 20 plus questions. Some of them are going to be like this in the workshop, and some of them will be on the bank, because it'll be easier to explain them that way. But we're basically going to get a little bit geeky, aren't we? And we're going to cover,
if you like,
we're going to cover really technical things, things like, let's pick something. Well, what could we pick? Say something like rod actions,
test curves,
rod actions, specifically to do with fishing rods, what they actually mean,
the subject
how
of leverage
has
come up with you and blown my mind, so I think that will be some good content, right?
Yeah, leverage is a very interesting one, and we won't touch on it now.
I say leverage, you say leverage.
Leverage, yeah. Yeah, exactly. So there's quite a few questions. Test curves, what they mean, do they mean anything, etc., etc. So there is quite a lot of questions which I'm not going to go into now because I want to touch on them all on their own. But
so I think that if you like your fishing, if you like your rods, if you like your technology, then I think this is a series to watch out for. So
Mark Tunley in the workshop with question and answers, and
some very interesting little tackle bits.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Thanks, Mark.
Thanks, Martin.